Hey guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to go through the whole year, 2020. Can you believe the year's over already? So we're going to go through and kind of look at all my builds, look at some photographs, I'll scroll through my portfolio and kind of talk a little bit about what I've got up to this year. Quite a few builds with being at home with everything going on. So I think it's about 15 or so we're going to look at. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so here is my 2020, it's hard to believe it's 2020, almost 2021, review of what I built this year. So first thing up, you see the date here is March 2020. I was obviously building in January and February. It's just this is when the first completion was. So I built working a couple projects at the start of the year, and the first one to be completed was this beautiful Great Wall Hobbies F14D in semi-second scale. The pictures somehow look a little bluey. I took pictures outside in the morning daylight, and for some reason it looks a little bit kind of blue, like colors, but in real life it isn't quite like this. But really love the kit. I got Coastal Kits. Is it Coastal Kits or Coastal Designs base? Simple base, and I got a couple of reed oak figures which I painted up just to give it a sense of scale. Full disclosure, I'm not exactly sure how accurate these figures are. I put them against some other 72nd scale figures and they might seem a little bit tall, so it might be a little bit slightly out scale, but nevertheless, I think it kind of sets it off nicely. So really enjoyed this kit. It's one of my favorite ones of the year. It was really nice the way it went together. So a couple other pictures. This is from looking down. You see how I really weathered it up, made it dirty and grimy. Again, it isn't quite this blue in real life. I'm not sure really what happened with the daylight in the pictures. And then finally in the case, so always use these Trump to display cases for the 72nd scale stuff. Really love them. They're only about $10 each, $10, $15. And it really sets it off nicely and protects the kit. So that was the first one. And then hot on the heels was the Revell 72nd scale Tornado. Now it was a GR1 kit, but I did a lot to it to make it a GR4. So everything thrown at it. So I had to put resin, I think I put resin cockpit, resin wheel wells, obviously removed the flight tags. I put in the generator, a couple more reed oak. Actually, no, I think these are PJ Productions, these pilots. I really went to town on this one and did the full conversion to make this a GR4. Really enjoyed this one again. Love the Tornado. But I think this is the first time I really kind of did so much resin and really converted something so much. Like another thing, I used the Airwaves resin wings. So as we see on the next picture, you can see the flaps slats extended. And from this image here, this again is one of my all-time favorites. I love the pilots. It took me a while to get the white cross on the helmet in semi-second scale, but really kind of happy how it kind of turned out. And then once again in one of those cases. So that was I was kind of building that alongside the F14, so they both kind of finished around the same time in the spring. Next up was the very nice Vegan from Special Hobby, again in semi-second scale. So first three kits of the year were 72nd scale. Really kind of loved this one. It was a great kit to work with. There was a few little bits and bobs that needed some filler and some little areas here and there, but overall turned out great. I did the, as you can see, I used the leaf splinter camo pattern in semi-second scale. It was no mean feat, but I did obviously use the masks. The masks are okay, but I had to go a lot back, and a lot of it had to go back and kind of remask and touch up and stuff. But really happy how this one turned out too. One of my favorite aircrafts. But to be honest, I started the year with one of my favorites. So I love Tornado, I love the F14, I love the Vegan. So they're the first three kind of completions of the year. And then there's the other side again. You're seeing the weathering. My usual technique of using Flory Dark Dirt Wash and neat oils, Aptilon 502 neat oils on all these kits you've seen. So let's flip on to the next page. And so that stepped up to a 48th scale Tornado. This is straight out of the box, I believe. The markings and stuff. Again, a Revell kit, a very cheap kit. I've tried a few of these guys, and it's a difficult kit to work with, but this is the first one where I really kind of got it together to a decent standard. The only thing negative on this one was the back here has always, where the buckets, first reverse the buckets flip up, there's always kind of soot and kind of dirt going up the tail. I used the wrong color here. Somehow I end up using like some kind of engine grime color or something. It's completely wrong, which kind of spoiled it. So maybe at some point in the future, I might go back and redo that. That was the only kind of negative for me. I wish it needs a little bit more that kind of browny or sootier kind of color. But yeah, again, I love the weathering, how it turned out on this one. And yeah, nice kit again. That's the underneath. Yeah, pretty sure this was out of the box. I don't remember. Maybe some resin seats. I don't honestly remember exactly what I did on this one. Then I did a World War II subject, which is very kind of unusual for me. I don't do a lot of World War II. So this is the Airfix Flying Fortress in the RAF scheme. I want to do something a little different. You don't see many in the RAF, so I kind of you mostly see them like natural metal finish or American olive drab. So I like this one, the black with the camo top, and I think it turned out really good too. You see the different colors I used. I think I probably used like NATO black or rubber black for the actual black parts, and faded down the paintwork as well. And kind of really happy how this one turned out. It's a little bit different for me. Like I say, I don't do really much in the way of World War II, but this was a nice kind of change of pace. And going down again, you can see some different shots of it. I did use some resin. I think I used the Big Sin set for this one, so I think I did use some resin. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think the engines. I think in the end, I'm trying to think back now. I think for this scale, I don't think the engines was necessarily worth it. I think a couple of the parts, like the turbochargers and a couple of bits at the front, I did use, but most of the engine stuff I didn't use. And also, it came with resin barrels, gun barrels. They were just too delicate, and it wasn't really much an improvement over the kit plastic ones. So I think for this scale, I usually went with the plastic kit ones. If I went for a bigger scale, I'd probably go for brass ones. But again, and for this, I think it was fine. One thing I definitely did use was a Edward mask set for all the windows. I could not do this kit without the mask set. There's so many different windows and panels and stuff. It would be a nightmare. Then I moved to some armor. I'm moving to May. I did this Rifle Models, the British Firefly. Really nice kit. The one thing here, I didn't realize until I took the pictures, but you can see back here, the tracks, I guess the tracks came loose when I took the pictures and not fully on. And you can see probably more in the next picture. So that, yeah, that's a kind of mistake on my part. No problem, I just pushed it back up and it just slipped. I didn't notice on the picture. I'm just really kind of happy how this one turned out. Maybe went a little bit overboard with the mud and stuff, but I kind of liked the way I kind of faded the paint and everything. And it was a great kit to work on too. Now, here's the first of the big guys. So this is my first ever video build I did on my channel, I believe. And this was the 32nd scale Trumpeter MiG-29 SMT. What can I say? This kit was absolutely fantastic. I loved every minute of it. It was a delight to work on. It just fell together almost Tamiya quality. Loved it. All I had to do with this kit was add a resin seat. I think it was like an error bonus, maybe. I can't remember exactly which one I used, or maybe Quick Boost. A MiG-29 resin seat. Everything else is out of the box. Yeah, it was a really nice kit. I loved it. It has a full detailed engines, which you'll see maybe see in another picture. Love the splinter schemes. With the splinter schemes, I had to go with I think I went with MRP paint just because that's the only one I can get the proper free shades of color in. Other paint lines didn't really have the correct color for the 29 in this particular scheme. And there you can see the full detailed engine. It's nice because the panel comes off and clicks on, so you can have it exposed or close it up. Two engines. Well, obviously I just bothered doing one. This one you don't see. And I really enjoyed this one. I think one thing I did do too is I believe I added magnets, so all the pilots are magnets, then we pulled off and removed and that kind of stuff. In the end, that was quite a lot of work, and I'm not sure if I even bother doing that again in the future. But yeah, I webs this up really nicely, and this again was my first video build earlier this year, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Then, but back to 72nd scale, this was the Airfix. This is in June. I finished this one, the Buccaneer, the Royal Navy Buccaneer. This is a really good kit. Typical Airfix, big panel lines and stuff, but I mean, it literally went together in about an evening, I think, and then about another week of painting and weathering and stuff. So it was a really kind of quick build. One thing I definitely recommend is I got the Edward photo etch set. Now, I hate photo etch, but it did make a huge difference to this one. And you can see back here, like this is all one big photo etch piece on the speed brake back here. And without it, there's not much detail. Also underneath, there's a lot of photo etch and in the cockpit and stuff. So I highly recommend that one too, the etch set. I think it really made a big difference. And I think I also used metal, master metal, the fuel probe here, and this kind of like probe. I think it was like $1 or $2. It's real cheap, but these are metal. But again, everything else is out of the box. yeah, painted Attacker paints, I believe, extra dark sea gray, and as always, the coastal, whatever they're called, designs or kits, the base to set it on. I really, really enjoyed how this one turned out, and I really enjoyed building it. Like I said, it went together really quick, and it was just a really fun project. Okay, then this is a project I called finishing in June, but I actually started maybe about a year or 18 months ago, and I pretty much built it. I just didn't get around to painting it. So this is another 72nd scale, the F35B Hasegawa kit. Now, I used aftermarket, I think it's Caracal decals. I used the for the RAF scheme, for the RAF markings, which is not many on here, but this kit just falls together. It's like almost like Lego. I mean, it's so easy, goes together really well. Great kit for beginners, and so Havglass, I did a lot of research, tried a lot of different colors, and for me, I think this is a pretty realistic color, how it looks, the sheen and stuff, and this is just purely camouflage gray from MRP. Now, for the Havglass, they recommend you use some kind of mica or some kind of pearlescent coat over top of it. I didn't do that. All it is just camouflage gray, because I thought the pearlescent coat really was a little bit too much. Also, another one with this kit is all these ram lines are these lines of ram tape. They're all decals, which is like a bright gray color. And to me, that doesn't look really very realistic when you see the pictures of the RAF version. The ram color is very much similar color now to the actual paint. So what I did was I didn't use the decals. This is just purely a pound line wash. So I can't remember exactly what color I used. I think it's some kind of dark gray mix of Flory models, weathering washes, and I just pound line washed all this. And I think it just gives a really kind of good, subtle, kind of accurate look. Those ones that people who use the decals and really bright, it just doesn't look right. I mean, the ram tape just doesn't look good. A lot of manufacturers too build kits with a lot of all this in raised detail. Again, it's too overdone. So this is nice recessed lines, which again just panel line washed it, and kind of really happy how it turned out. The canopy, I think, well, I just sprayed some clear yellow on the inside to give it that kind of tinted look. So that's that one. So again, I wasn't really a complete build. It's just really just a paint job this year. Then you see I've been very productive. In July, I built the Revell, which is a Hasegawa FGR2 Phantom. Not a big Phantom guy, full disclaimer, but I did enjoy building this kit. It went together really well. I put in the photo etch cockpit, I believe. I did buy nozzle for these exhaust nozzles. I did buy the Airwaves ones to kind of upgrade it. But what I did was I built all this, and I thought at the end I'll just slide them in. But when I actually got the nozzles, I found out that you had to kind of put them in before you kind of assemble the fuselage. You can't just slot them in like most of them. There was some kind of to do a build, it didn't quite fit, so I couldn't use them, so I used the kit ones. But again, really nice kit. Faded back to paint, Attacker paints as always. Faded back, and yeah, it was a nice build. Again, I'm not a huge Phantom fan, but I did quite enjoy that one. Now, this one was a little bit special for me, moving on to the Abrams. So this is a 48 scale Tamiya kit. Really enjoyed building this. Goes together super easily. A lot of weathering and painting on this. And then I created a base. This is basically cork. And then what I did was I used AK's diorama asphalt paste, which basically just spread on. And it gives you this nice effect. And I just painted on lines and created some dirt and stuff and put it in a case. This is my first ever one I sold, to be honest with you. I actually put this on eBay, and I put kind of reasonably high kind of price with a buy now, and just to see, how it would go and stuff. And lo and behold, somebody just went ahead and bought it. Didn't even make an offer, just bought it from me. So I packed it up really well, sent it off. I didn't get any feedback back, so I'm assuming it arrived in one piece, but that's several months ago. But it's my first and only ever kit I've actually sold. And yeah, I'm really kind of happy how it turned out, and it's a cool kit for sure. That's like looking down on it. Again, this is 48 scale, so it's like, not really nice, manageable size. Moving to July, this is another video build I did on the channel. Was the Eurofighter, the Revell kit. It went together pretty well for Revell. I'm not a big Eurofighter fan, so I built it. It was okay to build. I didn't absolutely love the build because again, it's a subject matter for me probably. I like to do something a little different rather than just plain gray. I added a scheme where it had like the World War II, I think it's like the DAC, not DAC, but this is like the desert kind of camo they had on Spitfires and stuff back in like North Africa in World War II. So I did in this scheme. It's commemorative from Lossy Mouth, I think. It's 6th Squadron 100th anniversary markings. Now I'm saying Lossy Mouth. It could have been Coningsby. I can't remember. So this is actually the you can't buy the RAF kit anymore, but Revell did a boxing with I think this was like the Red Baron or some kind of Luftwaffe German markings. But if the kit actually has all the RAF weapons in there, and it even breaks down the instructions how to build an RAF kit. So you can build an RAF version out of this kit. This one was one of my favorites too, back in August. The KC-135R, the mini craft kit. I bought this on a whim, wasn't expecting much, and it was absolutely beautiful. It went together, no problem at all. It was really a great kit to work on. I really loved it. The way it turned out was so clean. Really, really kind of happy how everything went with this one. This one actually was one of the winners. I think I've had 3 or 4 Build of the Week's winners with ISM Friday night show this year. And this did win the one of the weeks, which I'm very humbled and happy about, and it gives you definitely motivation to move on to other projects. But just the way everything turned out, the subtle coloring and just the build. There's no seam lines on the fuselage. Everything went to plan, which is very rare for kits. I think the only thing I may have done wrong is on the decal on the back here. I think maybe it should have gone on the top, not the underneath of the fuel boom, but I can live with that. Everything else turned out really nice. Okay, then this is another video build I did, was the Academy, again, semi-second scale, was the Growler, and I used the aftermarket 2-bobs, the Navy Centennial markings, rather than doing the gray, although I quite like the scheme on the box here, I did this kit, the blues. So this kit, I didn't realize until I was halfway through building, it's actually a snap-tight kit. So you don't really need any glue, you can just kind of snap this thing together, which again, I didn't really realize, try and pick up till later on the build. But so never, need to say, it kind of went together really well. Paint, I had to to get these 2 blues. The only one I could find was Testers, and that was like enamel paint, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm more of a lacquer or acrylic paint guy, so it was a challenge using using all the enamel paints. But I got it down in the end, and it turned out reasonably fine. Then moving on to October. This is this is a video build I filmed back in October, and it'll go up after the Tamiya F16 I'm on right now. So literally, I think mid January this will go up. I think it's like a 5 or 6 parter. This is, as always, a Great Wall Hobby, a fantastic kit. A nice size, being semi-second scale, wasn't huge. As you can see there, it's about 1 foot long. I got aftermarket Caracal decals for Lakenheath, and yeah, really kind of happy how this one turned out too. Although recently I accidentally knocked the case over and it smashed, so it does need some repairs. So I broke off half the parts and stuff. Long story short, I had some stuff underneath it, and I went to pull it, and being lazy, didn't move it, and the whole case kind of came crashing down. And yeah, there's a little bit of damage on this one, unfortunately, but I can get it fixed. It won't be a problem. But again, beautiful kit, a lot of detail. These Great Wall Hobbies semi-second scale kits are absolutely amazing. As you know, when I first started this video, the first one we talked about was the F14, and now this is the F15. So both fantastic kits. For some reason, this one's like half the price. This one's reasonably priced, about $30, whereas the F14 is about $65 if you don't get a deal on it. But it's almost the same amount of plastic, so I'm not sure how they get the pricing on it. Then finally, which I just literally finished the last few days, is the 32nd scale Tamiya F16 in the Northern Watch markings. What can I say? This kit is amazing too, but a lot of work. I know a lot of people commented on this too, about how much work this kit goes into this kit. It goes together really well, no problems at all. It's just getting just these ordnance alone is probably 20 hours work, just to get them all like painted and weathered and decaled. See, I've really weathered up the fuel tanks. So plus building a whole engine, plus the cockpit, plus the radar, the gun, everything else goes into it, the size of it. It's a lot of work. I mean, it took me 3 or 4 months on and off. Really happy how it turned out. I was on, I think I mentioned this on the video, but my RAF days, I was on Southern Watch. So when I saw these Northern Watch markings for Northern No-Fly Zone, I kind of wanted to do that. So this is from Incirlik, Turkey, patrolling Northern No-Fly Zone in Iraq, basically around, I guess, late 90s, early 2000s, kind of the age, kind of the time period. So yeah, really happy how this guy turned out. It's and one thing I found out too, as you've seen the build video, these bases was big find. I went to Home Depot, I got a giant sheet. This is chalkboard. On the other side is whiteboard, and it's really kind of firm. And you get a giant sheet about 4 by 2 feet for like $6. So I hadn't cut it down. So I got tons of this stuff left over. So this is a really good buy for a basic kind of stand. It worked out really good. Here's the other side of it. You can see the exposed gun. I like the way the metal kind of picks out, your eye kind of picks out the metal compared to all the grays. I added all the remove for flight tags. This one is 100% out the box. Everything you see is in the box, including the chocks, the no flight tags, the engines, the ladder, you name it, it's in a box. The only thing I added, like I said, was the decals, and also in the cockpit. My one kind of negative on this kit was there wasn't much kind of detail in the cockpit. Like there's no instrument dials. So I got the Airscale set of instrument dials and added a couple of random dials in there just to kind of give it a little bit more detail and kind of pick it out. And then here's looking down on it too. So yeah, fantastic kit. And that kind of really caps off the year. I can't remember that count there, but usually do about one a month. I think with COVID and being home, I certainly did a lot more than that. Like very productive, a lot of kits. Did a lot of semi-second scale as you see, but yeah, really happy how things are going throughout the year. I think my highlights pick out really was the MiG-29, the 32nd scale one. I really enjoyed that, and the KC-135 was another great build. I guess so too were the Great Wall Hobbies kits, the F-14 and 15. So yeah, really happy. That's kind of what I've been up to this year. A lot of progress, as you've seen. I think doing this way with the photographs, rather than bringing all the kits out and showing you, you actually get a better idea, and see it better, more clearly.
Well, that's it. So it's been a pretty busy, productive year. Some big projects there. Some little guys too. So really looking to take that on and expand and do more in 2021. So hopefully you enjoyed that video. Apologize for the sound in that, and also the last couple of videos. I didn't realize I had a problem with the microphone, but hopefully it's bearable at least. So all to say is, if you celebrate Christmas, happy Christmas. If not, happy holidays, or wherever you are in the world, happy New Year and that kind of stuff. I really appreciate everybody watching the past year. I've had tons of subscribers the past couple of weeks. I think I've had almost 100 subscribers in the last couple of weeks alone. So I'm not sure where that's come from, but certainly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Really appreciate all the kind comments and all the kind of really positive feedback I get. So, yep, again, have a good one, and I'll see you in 2021. Goodbye.